And today I wanted to welcome a really special person. I say special because I like people who come outside of conventional medicine. They break free from the conventional way of thinking, not just in medicine, but in our society, because we are always, we're brought into this world with this set of systems and programs that were built into thinking and being. However, as we get older and we see how different the way works when we operate from a place of freedom and self-reliance and self-speech and self-thought, we start to develop different ways of thinking than what society has programmed us with thinking. And for the longest time, with my own personal journey, I've always looked at conventional medicine as a tool to help us in one aspect of human health, but not everything, because human health is a very broad spectrum. And we need functional medicine to, let's say, have this kind of like salsa dancing, with conventional. So here today we have Dr. Manny Mujawaz. And Dr. Manny actually is a trained consultant in emergency and family medicine. But he left that and he moved to a completely different career. And he did that because he noticed something was broken in the conventional medical system, which I know for a fact that I've seen that happen so many times. And he saw that there is a gap. There is this gap in the knowledge that people really know when it comes to hair loss and hair health. And he became his own subject. And he transformed his own hair health to what you can see today, basically. So welcome, Dr. Manny, to the Be That Life experience.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And welcome to Dubai, because I know you just moved here from Australia.
Yeah, that's right.
And
it's been a few months.
how many of you in the audience here today either have gone through your own hair loss journey or know someone who has? Raise your hands. It's usually everyone in the room, because either we are in a phase in life where we have had hair loss, significant amount of hair loss, or trying to navigate how to have better hair health. So today's podcast theme, let's just say, I'd like to call it, is the art of living with perfect hair. Because, I feel like hair health isn't just about nutrition. And for someone who is a gut specialist and speaking about hair nutrition all the time, like gut-specific microbiome and nutrition and stress and sleep, we forget that all the aspects of what we look like in terms of from a nutritional standpoint has a lot to do with how we keep and maintain our hair health. So the hair transplant industry is massive, by the way. It's estimated to be about 10 billion currently. Okay, 10 billion is the market value for hair transplants. In a year, people are estimating to do about 700,000 to 1 million hair transplants a year, with Turkey being on the top of that list, 250,000 to 500,000 hair transplants a year. Now, when you look at that number, that is mind-blowingly insane to me, just that alone. And I remember the first time I ever visited Istanbul, actually. And I find it so weird because like it was kind of normal that people just were walking around with those bandage on their head. I was like, this is fascinating. I've never seen so many people on the streets of Istanbul just having hair transplants. So I would like to say that clearly the hair restoration boom is rising. But at the same time, while we have this rise, we're also having a rise in the amount of people who are suffering from hair loss. So isn't that crazy that we have this, polarity in terms of people? There's so many modalities and treatments out there. However, there's still a lot of people who are losing hair every single day. me being one of them, and we can talk a little bit about that later. But I just want to just take a step back a little bit and understand what made you start this journey. Why did you decide that you wanted to get into the space?
So my journey started when I realized that doctors weren't helping me with my own medical issues, and also realized that the modern medical system isn't designed to help that much with things that aren't designed, well, things that aren't going to kill you or permanently injure you. And so, yeah, I was quite a tired teenager. I could never put on any muscle. And I saw doctor after doctor and didn't get anywhere, and realized if I wanted answers, I had to find them myself. So, so I did, became a doctor and found them. And then the same thing happened a few years back. I had just come out of a long-term relationship, and I was feeling pretty unattractive. I was losing my hair. I was avoiding going out. I was avoiding looking in the mirror. I was avoiding taking photos.
How old were you?
I
I mean, just to put
was
things in context.
I was about 30.
Isn't this crazy?
Yeah.
30.
Yeah. So my hairline was receding, and so I thought I have to do something, or I'm gonna be single and lonely. So I did what everyone else does, and I went to see a hair transplant surgeon. And what he told me floored me. He said, Manny, you're going to, I can do it if you want, but you're going to have a bad outcome, because the back of your head, the hairs at the back of your head are thin. So if I take thin hairs and I plant them at the front, they're going to continue to thin. And I said to him, thank you, but no thank you. Thank you for your honesty. So I was pretty disappointed. I went then to see some dermatologists, and they offered the same thing: PRP, minoxidil, finasteride. I tried those, and it didn't really give me the results that I wanted. And they told me, Manny, look, you can hold what you have, but you can't regrow hair. You can't reverse hair loss. And so because I had gone through this experience of knowing that the system doesn't necessarily help you if it's not going to kill you. Well, hair loss isn't going to kill anyone. So, well, not directly anyway. And so I realized, okay, well, maybe the system doesn't have the answers that I'm looking for. I need to find them myself. So I started digging, and I started reading all the hair science that I could find, all the research articles. I realized there's quite a lot of research on hair. And so I started to experiment. I started to stab my scalp with all kinds of different things. And then I eventually, well, I also made a lot of mistakes. And some mistakes in hair regrowth can cost you months of going backwards.
Elaborate on that.
So,
What does that mean?
So to grow hair, you need to lose hair first.
Yes.
So because hair grows in a cycle. So anything that makes your hair grow better makes you initially lose hair more.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the biggest mistakes in hair regrowth is not being persistent enough and chopping and changing things all the time. So yeah, so eventually I worked out a system that can be personalized and can successfully grow hair. And then the moment I knew I was right was a few months ago, when I was hanging out with my best friend from Australia, who's a dermatologist and a photographer. And he told me, Manny, I was looking through some of our old photos together from the past few years. And the funny part is he was always politely skeptical of what I was doing. I just shared everything with him. And then he said, Manny, your hairline has come down by a few centimeters. So
wow, that's cool.
So
how long?
so you
Like,
you were
when did
right.
he started to notice that?
Well, he noticed it a few months ago.
Yeah.
So he said, Manny, you were right. The textbooks are wrong. You can regrow hair. So that's my story.
And since then, you have just been so focused on kind of getting people to have better hair.
Yes. Well, exactly. There's a lot to hair loss. It's quite a complicated field. So the more I dig into it, the more I realize there's more and more. The biggest thing is that hair loss is seen as a cosmetic thing. It's actually not. There's 18 biological pathways that contribute to hair loss. So if you're only targeting one or two of them, you're not going to regrow your hair.
Okay, so are you saying that all these like shampoos that we have in the market are all like just for marketing and they don't actually work?
Unfortunately, yes, a lot of hair products out there are just marketing and don't actually work, and that's I think hurting a lot of people's confidence in hair regrowth. So that's why I decided I have to do something. I want to essentially do things, create products for me to use and share it with the world. But essentially, the world deserves evidence-based products that actually help them regrow hair and not just marketing.
Okay, so I have so many people in my circle who are in their 30s and are either like graying out or losing a lot of hair, almost like they're balding, right? And when I look at them and I asked them, what do you think is the reason? Could it be stress? And for them, their answer is always the same. It's genetic. My father had hair like this at this age, so I'm also going to have hair like this at this age. Or my mom had hair like thinning out, I'm also going to have hair like that. But we both know, based on epigenetics, that it's not the case. Because sure, genetics, between 30, 40, 50% of genetics could play a factor to so many different things that could happen to someone, but it's not the underlying reason why people are losing their hair, right? So based on epigenetics and what you've known about this, even if you come from a family line who are balding in their 30s, could you be someone that does not bald in their 30s? And if you're someone that's graying out in their 30s and having like a receding hairline or the bald patch in the middle, like, can you do something about it? Or is it like you're doomed to fate?
So genetics is like loading a gun, and the environment is what pulls the trigger. So if you have bad genetics, I mean, case in point is me. My family is bald, so both my parents are bald. My nephews, nieces, uncles, it's quite strong genetic, genes for balding. So we know from the best evidence that I've seen on this is a large study on identical twins, and they have exactly the same DNA, but they didn't have the same environment. So when they assessed the different environments and did the study, it's 190 identical twins, they found that there can be a bald identical twin and an identical twin with excellent hair. So we can control our environment, and that can help us to control our genetics. So they've found absolutely stress is huge, smoking, alcohol intake, the number of divorces someone has had. So
the number of divorces someone has had?
Yeah.
How many have had a divorce here? Oh, wow, there's a lot of hands. There's a lot of hands. So yeah.
But we can reverse some of that. In fact, we can reverse if you control your environment and live as healthy as you can actually reverse balding.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about if someone comes to you and they've had those issues. So, someone who is they're graying out in their 30s. What's the first protocol that someone's going to do when they're graying out?
Well, graying is a different thing. So graying is there's a huge stress component to graying. So and stress is one of those things that no one's that is often hugely underrated. And I have often had discussions with patients that tell me, "Doctor, I don't feel stressed."
Yeah.
And I ask them one question: "What's your heart rate variability?" And so with the wearables revolution, a lot of people know their HRV. Some people don't, but that is the single best number you can use to see how stressed you are. Because even if you don't feel stressed, but your HRV is less than 30, you're stressed. Your body is stressed.
Okay, so let's elaborate a little bit on that for just people who don't really understand what that means, right? So I know a lot of people who wear wearables and who have all these data in their wearable, but then don't even understand what's HRV. So HRV is heart rate variability, but then people don't understand how to read the score in HRV. They just look at the fact that a lot of the wearables would say on the side of it, good, excellent, poor, and they base it on what's written and not really the actual number that goes with that. The other day, I was with someone that I know and who's been wearing a wearable for over 2 years, and she asked me the question as to, is HRV meant to be higher or lower? What's the good one for me? I'm like, you've been literally wearing that wearable for 2 years and you don't know? So there's a lot of people that wear wearables because it's a trend and think it's cool and they want to follow the fad. But a lot of them actually don't know the data that they're reading on there. So I think, it's important that when we are trying to track our health, we still understand what we're actually tracking. So maybe elaborate a little bit on HRV. What's good, what's bad? How are you tracking? People have so many different wearables. Every wearable has a different tracking system. They're not all the same. For example, like I have a Gabbit, and on a Gabbit, it's different from other wearables.
Yeah.
So is it meant to be higher or lower?
So it's meant to be higher. I would also not trust some of these wearables in terms of their proprietary way of presenting that information to you. I would try and find the actual number, because sometimes they'll say, okay, your HRV is good, but they're just saying it's good relative to how it's been in the recent
good point.
past. So that's not helpful. So it should be more than 70. The lower, the worse. So the HRV is essentially a measure of how much variability, how much variance there is between each heartbeat. When we're stressed, our body activates fight or flight, which optimizes your organs for fighting or fleeing. So the heart rate is beating on time and there's minimal variability. When you're relaxed, you rest, digest, and mate, you end up having more space, more variance between the heart rate. And the best way the single most potent way anyone can reduce their stress immediately is through breath work. So the breath immediately puts you into rest, digest, and mate. But it's a learned skill. It's not something that you can just try once or twice. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I tried it a couple times, didn't do much for me," and that's not. They haven't tried it. To try it means to persist at it for months, because it's a difficult skill to learn, to actually use your breath to actually activate your parasympathetic nervous system across your entire body and calm yourself. And we can access, it's free. We can access it multiple times a day. You can do it for 2 minutes every few hours, and you'll notice immediate improvements in your HRV.
Let's have a show of hands at those that know their HRV score. Okay, that's a decent number. I'm going to ask you guys that later. You're going to tell me what's your score. And I'm going to check your hair health as well after that.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of the things like we mistake is that there's good and bad stress. So there's stress that is meant to help you thrive every day, and then there's a bad stress that's not making you sleep well, eat well. You're overthinking. You're not working at the optimal level. And of course, one of those aspects to it is that you're losing your hair, right? And as a woman in her 40s, hair health has become something that I care about even more.
Yeah.
I come from a family line of great hair anyways. My mom is in her 70s. She still has a great head of hair. But I don't ever want to leave that to chance. I want to be the kind of person that is able to, get to my 80s and still have a great head of hair. So for me, I think in general, as the audience here knows for a fact, that everything that we do today has to be intentional. whether it's something that we do before we go to sleep, whether we are doing breath work or meditation to help put our body back in the parasympathetic state, or whether we know that when we consume food, it's actually absorbing in our body. Because a lot of the times, what people don't understand is we are always eating in a very rushed state. We got to take our kids to school, we got to eat something. We got to get out of the gym, we got to go to a meeting, we got to eat something. We got to go to the next meeting, we got to eat something. We're always rushing when we're eating. But actually, historically, the way that we're meant to be eating is in a very calm state. So, you know, I recently visited Japan, and in Japan, they have such a different way of being and culture. There isn't a single person in Japan that's overweight. Let's see a show of hands of those that have been to Japan. So you understand what I'm talking about. But also, every single meal they consume has rice. So they eat a lot of carbs. But even though they eat a lot of carbs, they have great skin health, great hair health, great gut health. So clearly, the Asians are doing it right, and everyone else seems to be doing it wrong. But also, when you think about it, Tokyo is one of the busiest, most cosmopolitan cities in the world, just like Dubai. We're also hustle culture. They're also hustle culture. They're super fast paced, but they also live in a very intentional way. When they eat, I don't see them using their phones. Where they're walking on streets, they're not using their phones. When they're on the metro, they're not using on their phones. They're super, super calm as people. They eat in a very intentional way. So I say this because there's no way ever, even based on science, that if you consume your food in a rush state that you are absorbing nutrients. Absolutely impossible. You have to eat in a very relaxed parasympathetic state to be able to absorb every single thing that you're eating. So you can try sleeping as much as you want, take all the supplements, but if you're not absorbing the nutrients, your hair is not benefiting from that. Now let's talk a little bit about the nutrition aspect from a food perspective, right? As somebody that specializes in hair health, when someone would come to you and ask you, how can I have better health from a nutrition standpoint? What are the deficiencies that they need to be looking for? And what are the things that need to add into their diet to have better hair?
Yeah, just to add to your previous point, we can do a mindful eating session one day. I think
Yeah,
that
I
makes
like
a
that.
huge difference to stress levels and also how much nutrients you get from your food. So in terms of deficiencies, the most common is iron deficiency, and the trap is that most blood test labs, they have a they state the minimum is way less than it should be. So the number you want to look at is the ferritin. That tells you how much iron your body has, and most labs will say more than 30 is fine, but it's not fine. It should be more than 70, and we actually have research on this that less than 70 increases hair fall risk. So that's important. There's a common myth that I see that having a low or no fat diet is okay, and that's not okay for hair. You need some healthy fats.
So, what are those healthy fats?
Eggs are the best. They're full of also lots of vitamins that help
Mhm.
hair, biotin, vitamin D, and yeah. So uh, I definitely some plant fats, but I also think animal fats are incorrectly attacked too much nowadays. I think a small amount is quite good for us, and protein. So that's all the basics that you talk about. 1 gram per kilo of protein per day is the minimum, and yeah. So those are the key ones.
What are your thoughts on veganism? I bring this up
Yeah.
because I tried to be vegan for 6 months. And when I did, I lost a lot of hair by doing that. So, there's a population of people in the world based on your genetic blueprint. that veganism works for you, but it's actually the minority and it's not the majority. And because veganism became such a trend and everyone is just falling on that bandwagon and it's like, I want to be vegan. I'm going to eat plant-based, 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 plant-based. However, if you're not doing your DNA genetic blueprint test, you're not even going to be able to know that you actually need to thrive on animal protein, animal fats. So I always recommend people to take that test first before they decide on anything. And clearly, I'm one of those people, right? It's the same as like I'm a very slow metabolizer of coffee. When I did my nutrigenomics test and I did my DNA testing, I discovered that I actually have a variation of the CYP1A2 gene that makes me a slow metabolizer of coffee. I've never had coffee my whole life, but when I do drink it, I get the jitters. But then there are people who have the variant of the CYP1A2 that are fast metabolizers of coffee. So when they drink it, there's no jitters. They can have 2, 3 a day and still sleep at night. And I'm just someone that just can't do that. But if you don't understand your own genetic profile, how are you going to know what works best for you? So sure, try veganism, try keto, try paleo, try it. But if you know it's not working for you, don't just follow a trend.
Yeah, I agree. I think all extreme diets are harmful to hair. Definitely don't think veganism is healthy. I tried veganism like 10 years ago. That's actually when my hair loss started. And
Oh,
yeah.
really?
And then when I
Okay, so we're
realized
similar.
it was really bad,
Yeah.
my partner at the time, when we started eating fats again and animal products, you could actually, and I wish I took a photo, you could see on her, as her hair grew out, you could literally see a line of when we started to eat animal fats and eat whole foods and
Yeah.
stop avoiding fats. And yeah, and I just think it's not easy to eat vegetarian or veganism
Yeah.
and maintain all the nutrients that you need. And the best example I have is I dated a dietitian,
Okay.
and even a dietitian, even she had low B12.
Oh.
Yeah. So if a dietitian can't eat well, they say you have to eat variety to get all your nutrients, and if a dietitian can't do it, I think the average person
Yeah, they're
doesn't have
really
a lot of
struggling.
yeah, they're gonna struggle.
Yeah, they're really struggling. But also, for me, I look at food in a completely different way because I focus on that, right, a lot. Like that's what I do that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I promote. That's what I'm advocate for. And I always feel like most of the people's problems can be really solved by proper nutrition because that is what sustain us day in, day out. Brain fog, autoimmune diseases, cancer, eczema, psoriasis, everything stems from inflammation. And, if you do not know how much inflammation you have in your body, how are you going to know how you're going to fix that problem? So, what are the protocols that people would do in order to understand inflammation, in order to understand stress?
What do you mean?
The protocols, like what are the blood biomarkers that someone needs to take?
To check their hair
Yeah,
health?
to check inflammation, to check, stress.
Yeah. So inflammation isn't always easy to measure on
Yes.
blood. You can do the CRP, but that's more of acute infection. The ESR is a better test for that, but it's still not the best. I really like the HRV for stress, and that tells you a lot about whether someone's having inflammation or inflammaging in their body.
Inflammaging.
Yeah.
So let's talk about inflammaging because you mentioned that. Let's ask a show of hands how many understand what inflammaging is. Okay, it's not a lot in the audience. So let's talk about inflammaging. What is that?
So it's this idea that if you have chronic low-grade inflammation in your body, that inflammation is causing you to age faster.
Biologically.
Yeah, biologically.
So it's the age of your cells, basically, that it's deteriorating faster than your chronological age.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't want to happen, right? Because what we want is that we always want ourselves to age way slower
Yeah.
than our chronological age. And that's why this obsession of bio age, it's like, oh my God, what is my bio age? Or people in their 50s and have a bio age of 25, 26. And like, how are you doing that? How are you optimizing that? And it's
Yeah.
the same as your VO2 max. Let's see a raise of hands of people who know what's their VO2 max. Okay, it's also not the majority. It's always the minority. And so, yeah, I mean, understanding all of those things are really important for a longevity perspective, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So all the things we spoke about stress, and there's also a few weird and wonderful things that people can look out for. Like, for example, Helicobacter pylori. Have you heard of that?
Yes, of course. So
So
let's elaborate a little bit on that.
So that's actually one of the world's most common infections that infects the stomach. 30% of the world has it, and it's an interesting story because the medical community did not believe the doctors that discovered H. pylori, and then eventually they did, and they won a Nobel Prize. But the medical community thought that stomach ulcers were caused by stress, which they're partial. There's a small contribution of that, but the bigger thing is H. pylori. So it's an infection of a bacteria that can live in the stomach, and they didn't believe that because the stomach is so acidic. How can any bacteria live in there? Well, they dig their way into the stomach lining, and they cause the stomach lining to be a little bit inflamed. So a bit of chronic inflammation. And so there's a really easy test you can do to check for that. It's called the urea breath test.
The urea breath test.
The urea breath test. You can do that. It's cheap, it's easy, and essentially will tell you if you have it or not. And if you do, you can take antibiotics. And I know antibiotics are shit for the microbiome, but there are some herbal combinations you can take to help.
So let's
potentially
let's talk about the herbal.
Okay. Well, I can send you a list of them, or I can put it in the show notes. But there's a list of herbal supplements you can take that have evidence for eradicating H. pylori, but with the caveat that you must repeat a urea breath test a month after you do that to check that they worked. Because if they didn't work, then you're going to need normal antibiotics.
And can you actually get rid of it permanently?
Yeah. So if you get rid of it as an adult, your chances of catching it again are almost zero.
But
because you've developed immunity. It's normally caught as a child. They say, okay, when your mom is chewing something and feeds you, that's when your immune system is weak as a child, so you end up catching it. But once you get rid of it as an adult, you don't have to worry about it ever again. Yeah.
One of the issues that we have in countries that have a lot of desert and heat, 40 degrees, 50-degree heat, is that the challenging part is always the water quality. And I was raised in Dubai, so I know that my hair health has suffered a lot because of the water quality. And if I don't have a filtration system, my hair is like constantly falling. Okay, just to put things in context, we're meant to lose between 50 to 100 strands a day. It's considered normal, or not?
There's better research showing it's more like 25 to 35.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not 50 to 100.
So 50 to
And
100 is a
also,
lot.
it depends on if you have a full head of hair, then you can look at the higher end. If you're already losing a lot of hair, then the lower end is
But
still...
has that a lot to do with age as well? Like, is it like an age bracket, or is it like 25 to 30? Doesn't matter how old you are.
Oh, that's a good question. I'll have to look at that and get back to you. But yeah, so when you're older, you lose more hair, you've had more time to accumulate inflammation and toxins into your hair and damage to your hair follicles.
Yeah.
So yeah, they say like 70 or 80% of men by the age of 80 will have hair loss, and like 50% of women.
Yes,
so, yeah.
Exactly. So, I went through a phase of not having a filtration system. I went through a phase of having a filtration system. But we all know that people who do not have a filtration system in their home for their showers will have chlorine in their hair, will have heavy metals, will have a lot of toxic biofilm that has been accumulated through the pipes basically in your hair when you shower every day. Another crazy fact that I discovered from Dr. Manny was that actually this whole showering like once a week is actually a myth. You need to shower every single day so that you have great scalp. Please elaborate on that because that is mind blowing.
Yeah, so you don't have to shower every day, but it's a huge myth that's circulating far and wide right now that you don't need to shower or you can shower once a week. You,
Because I followed that trend for a while too.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not wetting my hair. I'm not putting any shampoo in there because
Yeah.
it's toxic and I'm gonna lose all of my hair.
Yeah.
So I went through that trend too. So actually, what's the reality of the situation?
So there's clear science on this that we shed skin cells on our scalp. We're secreting oils, sebum, and there's sort of dead skin cells, keratin, whatever. These are all food for bacteria, for the fungus that causes dandruff called malassezia, and also for the mite that causes rosacea called the Demodex mite. And so those then have a feast and create microinflammation around your hair follicles, which damages your hair follicles. So we want to get rid of that. I think colloquially, a lot of people don't want to shower that often. And I fell to this myth myself until I dug into the science. Because a lot of shampoos that are out there are full of sulfates and parabens.
Yes.
And they strip our scalp of lipids and make it dry, which can also cause the scalp to be inflamed. So what I suggest to people is if you don't have a lot of hair loss, just use a gentle skin cleanser as your shampoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So because that's the only way I know of right now to get a safe shampoo that is free of sulfates and parabens and these harsh chemicals. I don't know why all these shampoo companies insist on putting them. I think actually I do know why. It's because a lot of people consider a shampoo that doesn't foam up or lather to be a good shampoo. So you won't get that with the gentle skin cleansers.
Yes, you don't.
But you don't need it. So
Okay.
it's about education and knowing that you don't need it. But so that's if your hair isn't too bad. If you're losing hair and you want to grow it back, then you need to use a shampoo that has ketoconazole, which is an antifungal. And that shampoo, that product has been shown to improve hair regrowth, even though, unfortunately, a lot of the ketoconazole products do have sulfates and parabens. But it has 4 different mechanisms by which it helps us to regrow hair, and it's been proven to help regrow hair. So, and the other thing is going back to the frequency of showering. There's an actual study that measured this and found that 5 to 7 days a week is the ideal. And the people who showered 5 to 7 days a week had measurable improvements in hair growth and hair density and less hair fall.
So you're saying 7 days a week we need to shower with the
5 to 7. 5 is
with
fine.
the skin cleanser on our hair
Yeah.
instead, and maybe one of those days like a regular non-paraben, non-sulfate shampoo,
No, not a normal one. I would use ketoconazole.
a ketoconazole.
Yeah, which is Nizoral.
Okay, Nizoral.
Or
But
any product that
isn't
has
Nizoral also
ketoconazole.
focused on dandruff?
Yes, but that's what ketoconazole is. But
Okay.
even if you don't have dandruff, it'll help with hair
Okay,
regrowth.
so
It has
even if you
several
don't have
mechanisms.
dandruff,
Yeah,
you need to use this shampoo.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's interesting.
yeah.
And how about with people who have developed eczema on their scalp?
Okay, well, that will require a more careful assessment to see what's irritating, because eczema is a broad term.
Yeah,
So
like you're getting those like red patches on your head, similar to like what you would get on your skin normally.
yeah,
And you start developing that on your scalp. And I've
Yeah.
seen that happen so many times to people that I know. And you maybe use like a anti dandruff shampoo, and you've tried these products, but it's not helping. So I always feel like what we see externally has a lot to do what's happening internally,
absolutely.
right?
Hairs,
So
yeah,
I always go back to gut health.
yeah,
And I always say there's really something happening with your gut for you to be experiencing that. drink a lot more bone broth, have a lot more collagen,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
all of those things are helping repair the things that are causing the inflammation externally. It's the
Yeah.
same with acne and so many various skin conditions. And you know, what we see on our skin is this, even though we're not seeing on our hair, we're feeling that,
Yeah.
right? And this chronic dandruff situation, chronic like dry scalp and like dull looking hair has a lot to do with the fact that not showering enough, because you're following the myth that
Yeah.
everyone's saying shower once a day, you're going to lose the oils in your hair if you're not showering, if you keep showering,
Yeah.
there's that myth. And then also the fact that you just don't know what to do. You're just using the wrong shampoo and aggravating your scalp even more than helping it heal better.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So now talking about
I might just add though,
yeah,
if you do have eczema or your scalp is red, then you should see a dermatologist, because it's not an easy thing. I can just
an easy
say,
fix, yeah.
like, there's many different reasons why someone might have that, and it's important to get it assessed properly.
Yeah.
I would say though that the first step you can do immediately is to stop using shampoos and use a gentle skin cleanser like
Yeah.
the Cetaphil gentle one,
Yeah.
and just use that on your scalp alone, and book an appointment to see a dermatologist.
Okay, so what I've noticed is that, for example, like I work out every day. And because I work out every single day, if I don't use shampoo on my hair, I have like really like oily hair. So it's like I need to use the shampoo so it doesn't get all oily. And I'm someone that likes to have my hair down. I'm not someone that likes to have my hair up. And because it looks kind of oily, I feel like I need to shampoo it properly every day. So what's the solution for that? Is the skin cleanser enough to help the whole hair look shiny again, or is this going to look kind of oily?
So if you're oily, you are likely to have dandruff. Do you have dandruff?
I do, yeah. I
So
do definitely have
so
that.
if you have dandruff, then you should be using ketoconazole shampoo. There's other anti-dandruff shampoos as well.
So are you saying that it's because of that that I have the oily hair from the dandruff? Because
You have dandruff from oily hair. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
got
because
it.
the fungus is eating the oil, and then creating the flakes and the inflammation. So you
Right.
can use ketoconazole, but if it's too much, you can use it 3 times a week, and 2 or 3 times a week is what they say is what the research has looked at. And then in between those days, you can use a gentle skin cleanser. The other thing you can do is you can buy. Have you heard of hypochlorous acid?
No.
Have you seen like, it was very popular during COVID. It's a surface disinfectant,
Okay.
hypochlorous acid. So it's actually just made of water and salt, and so that's been shown to help hair and help dandruff. So you can spray that also 2 or 3 times a week. It's actually a great dry shampoo. Well, it's not dry, but you don't need to shower when you use it. If your scalp is feeling like it needs a shower, you don't have time, you can use hypochlorous acid, and that will kill some of the fungus and some of the bacteria, and it's quite refreshing actually. So
One of my favorite things that I've discovered for hair health is rosemary.
yes,
So I just either boil rosemary in some water and add it in a spritzer bottle,
yeah,
and I spray that morning and night. And the nice thing about rosemary that I have seen the benefits is that it doesn't make my hair oily. But I see
okay,
natural baby hairs coming, but it's again, you need to be consistent.
yeah,
So it comes over time. It's not like a miracle spray and then you just,
yeah,
gain new hair. But because I've been using it now for 5 years straight, like I have naturally like baby hairs growing all the time.
amazing.
So what are your thoughts on rosemary?
Yeah, rosemary works. It's been shown to work. It's one of the stronger herbal things that work.
Yeah, and it's crazy that it costs nothing
Yeah,
and it grows your hair by so much. I am a massive fan of rosemary. Like I don't know what my life would be or my hair would be without rosemary, honestly.
yeah,
So the reason why we did this podcast episode in this particular apartment is because of what I mentioned earlier, right? This apartment is like a living supplement. And I'm so impressed by the way that they have focused on the filtration system, not just on air, but on water quality. They have this incredible filtration system that goes in through the entire tap system throughout the building, that focuses on various different elements of our pH levels on our skin. Because obviously, you know, our pH levels on our skin is different from our pH levels on our scalp. And, you know, when you are showering, the water that you're using on your head needs to be on a certain pH level that is great for scalp hair. Correct?
Yeah.
So the wonderful thing about AWA and this development is that they have obtained the WELL certification. And the WELL certification is this incredible certification that really focuses on the most incredible, most profound, most amazing air, water, sleep system that you can have for a development. And I say that because I know so many people who have bought properties in Dubai and have had so many issues with mold toxins, moisture inside the infrastructure of the buildings. And they had to basically tear down the entire part of their home to re-renovate because of all the moisture and the mold that, by the way, are going through our air vents and we're breathing.
Yeah.
That's the reason why people are not sleeping well. That's the reason why we are having brain fog. We are stressed when we come to an apartment. We spend most of our time in our apartment, if not our jobs.
Yeah.
Or traveling, which I do a lot of times too. You know, so like we spend so much time in our homes. So clearly, the place that we reside should be like a living supplement. We should feel the most at ease in our homes. But we don't realize that these small things that are not being managed because we buy a property or we're renting a property are causing silent inflammation. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm impressed by the fact that they have created the best water system, the best air system, which means that if, you know, I stay in a place like this, I'm going to have great hair health. I'm going to have great sleep, because what is great hair health without great sleep? Because when are we recovering the most? In our sleep.
Yeah.
It's in the rest and repair state. Another thing that a lot of people don't know about is we have two systems. We have the lymphatic system. Raise of hands of those that know the lymphatic system. And we have the glymphatic system. Show of hands that understand the glymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is obviously the blood flow and the system that goes through our entire body. Yes? And if that clogs, we start developing all sorts of problems. We weight gain, we store fat, we have inflammation, but we have something called the glymphatic system. And the glymphatic system is the clearing of the waste of our brain. And that only happens during sleep. But not just any type of sleep. It can't be like you decide to go to bed at like 12 p.m. or 1 a.m. and expect to get the clearing. It doesn't happen that way. It only happens at its peak between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And if you're not sleeping during that period, you're not clearing the waste. Do you know about this?
No, you tell us more.
Yeah, so so I just wanted to elaborate that the importance of sleeping at the right time is super beneficial. So when people tell me like, "Why are you so boring, Marian? You go to bed at like 9 p.m." Well, that's the reason why I go to bed at 9 p.m. is because I want to make sure I'm clearing the waste in the right places. And a lot of people that I know that are sleeping past 12 and are sleeping at 1, and even though they're like, "Okay, I'm going to sleep at like 1 a.m. I'm going to get my 8 hours of sleep." But they wake up super tired and groggy. And they're like, "I rested so much, but I'm so tired. Why am I so tired?" It's because you're not clearing. You're not clearing the waste that's meant to be clearing. Just the same that we're going for a massage to make sure our lymphatic system and the blood flow is operating at optimal level, we're also doing that massage for our brain when we're sleeping at the right time.
Yeah, sleep is critical. And if you can live in a place where all of these environmental things are taken care of for you, then you can have more space to focus on doing other things that, you know, if you can't afford to live somewhere like here, you can buy a good home air
understand
filter.
mold. No, understand mold, mildew.
Yeah.
You know, because just taking a step back first before you answer that, is like the UAE has very fast construction. We all know this, right? Like buildings here are like built so fast, faster than many other cities in the world. And the problem when you build buildings super fast is that they kind of bypass a lot of other things. Like, for example, I'm going to give an example. If the concrete does not dry at an optimal level before putting on the next slab, it's going to cause moisture. That moisture causes mold. That mold causes bad air health, bad air vents, you know? So that's one element to it. If you're not letting the paint dry also efficiently, that also causes problem overall in the infrastructure of the building. A lot of people just buy buildings making sure that they have a really great ROI, but they don't understand that in order to have a great ROI, you need to have a great structure of the building, because it's hard for you to sell a really good building, a really good apartment, a really good villa, if you know that the person next that's going to buy it is going to check all those things. How are you going to sell? How are you going to make sure that it's going to go double what you wanted to sell for, right? I don't want to live in a toxic place. You know, like I care about longevity. So there's a lot of people that are buying properties these days that care about tattoo or renting. They're asking all these questions, you know. I'm pretty like consistent about those kind of things. So that it's important to really know. So talking about filtration system, if you can't afford to live in like super ultra high luxury places, what are the best things that people can implement into their homes today that can help them have better water quality?
So getting a great shower filter, and then taking water from your shower filter and from your tap water, taking those two samples to a pool shop and getting them to test how much chlorine and heavy metals and all these things are in your water. That's a good way to figure out if your
And
shower
what's the
filter's
number?
working.
And what's the number on the
It should
chlorine that's
reduce-
safe or not safe?
It should reduce the chlorine by 99%. If it says 90%, that's not good enough.
Okay.
And and then drinking water, same thing. You should have a good
Filtration
filter for
system,
drinking water. I'm not a fan of reverse osmosis. I've seen too many people get weirdly tired after using it for a long time, and then when they start drinking normal water again, they feel better, like back to normal. I think air purifiers are really critical, especially if you're living in Dubai, because Dubai has a lot of natural pollution from the desert, and that can cause microinflammation and inflammaging. So, and there's a company called IQ Air that make air purifiers that are miles above the rest. I don't have shares. I wish I do, but they are the best out there that I'm aware of. If you have the money, there's a product called 8 Sleep. I also am not sponsored by them, or I bought it with my own money. And that is the single best thing you can do for your sleep.
Yeah, I own an 8 Sleep actually.
It's so good. Yeah.
Have you guys heard of the 8 Sleep? How many of you own an 8 Sleep? Like us here, the cool kids who own 8 Sleep. So 8 Sleep basically is a really great mattress.
Mattress
cover,
cover,
a mattress cover that you put on top of your mattress. And what it does is that it has like these kind of like, I don't know,
It's just
holes
like
or lines.
plastic tubing.
Yeah, tubing system
that water runs through.
Water runs through. And
But you can't feel the plastic.
no, you can't. And the nice thing about it is that it regulates the hot and cold
Well,
system
it uses
based on your own body heat. And
Well,
system.
it has sensors in it,
Yeah,
and it
sensors,
uses
exactly.
AI to optimize the temperature to maximize your deep sleep and REM sleep, which I think is just genius.
Yeah. And, you know, I developed, like at the start of the year, issues with my sleep. And I'm turning 46 this year in December. And over the last couple of years, I was feeling a little bit off. And I'm someone who's always loved sleep. And that's something that I try to optimize all the time. And, you know, sometimes you can't do much when it comes to human biology, or, you know, and it's that's just a phase where it's like perimenopause, arriving towards menopause, where there are certain disruptions, like you get the night sweats and you are not sleeping so well, and I get that disruption. And even though I'm trying so many varieties, like you need to have your air condition at that temperature, you need to make sure that you're sleeping at this time, you need to make sure that you're taking the right supplements, you're putting yourself in this meditative state, you can listen to all the music in the world, but it's still not making me like sleep well. So when I bought the 8 Sleep, and when I tried it for the first week, I was like, this is shit, it's not working for me. It didn't do anything
It
for
takes
me,
2
actually.
weeks to adjust.
And then after like, 2-3 weeks of using it, it completely changed my sleep
Yeah.
health, my circadian rhythm, and the way that I just naturally like go to bed and wake up without that so many interruptions throughout the night. And also the night sweats
Yeah.
just disappeared. It's the best invention.
And I think in Dubai's hot summer, it's almost a necessity.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, because I was always too hot
yeah, the AC is
between the
pretty good.
bed and my body, but freezing on top with the aircon blasting on me. So the 8 Sleep fixed that. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about your philosophy when it comes to hair health. So since you're the natural hair doctor and you focus on natural hair health and anti-transplant, like that would be the very last resort for you, or you would never recommend that at all because you can totally and most confidently say that you can grow someone's hair.
So I see hair loss as a complicated system that isn't being addressed. There's at least 18 biological mechanisms that drive hair loss, and we're not addressing them. Most clinics aren't. In terms of whether someone should go for a transplant or hair, that's a purely personal decision, and some people would not have the patience to go through what I do. So what I do is not a quick fix, and it takes a long time and requires patience and consistency. It takes at least 1-2 years to get significant results. Whereas with a hair transplant, you go once, you get it done. But the thing is, not everyone can have not everyone's a candidate for a transplant, because transplants require bald areas, and a lot of people don't have bald areas. They just have thinning everywhere, like initially what I had. And so you need space to actually physically plant the hairs. So to each their own. If you want transplant, or if you want to go the natural route of regrowing your own hair. So the other problem with transplants is you have to shave bald.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been changed. So a lot of women aren't.
No, I'm definitely never going to be willing
interested.
to shave my head bald.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I mean, I never wanted, like, even when I went to see a hair transplant surgeon, I was reluctant because I saw what it looked like on some of my friends, and it didn't look natural. It didn't look.
That's true.
It didn't look right. So I was always, and every field of medicine has a medical side and a surgical side, but for some reason in hair loss, it's just surgical. So this is me starting the medical side of hair regrowth. Yeah.
So what is it? I'm waiting for the answer.
Sorry, what's your
I want to know
question?
what's the natural protocols to help people regrow their hair.
Okay, so
one is, do they need to do a blood test? Is there something that they need to check?
So we first
initially?
do a comprehensive assessment of the patient, their medical conditions, their environment, their what medication supplements they take, and then we examine their hair and diagnose the kind of hair loss that they're having, and we take pictures with something called a trichoscope, which is a hair microscope, and that way we can actually monitor progress and know exactly whether, at 3, 6 months, 12 months, we can know if they're improving or not. We can also do some DNA tests that can tell us for this specific person what medications might work better and what herbal supplements might work better or not. So that technology is out there. And we also do injections and microneedling. So one of the easiest things that is accessible to most people is microneedling. So we microneedle your scalp. That's one of the most potent natural hair regrowth.
So what are you
techniques.
microneedling? I mean, what is inside the actual the vial that you're using to micro? What
So
are you putting in your hair?
So after microneedling, I'll put a serum, but the serum has to be a certain. You can't just put any serum because a lot of serums aren't designed to penetrate through the skin. When you're microneedling, you're creating microchannels.
Yeah.
You're creating holes in the skin
Yeah.
and bypassing your natural protection. So you have to be very careful not to use anything on the scalp while those holes are still open. So for 12 to 24 hours after microneedling.
But microneedling usually comes with like a vitamin component to it that you're putting into
Yeah,
the
yeah. So
scalp.
you can
So
then
what
put
is the vitamin or what is the minerals or what is it that you're putting into the scalp that you're microneedling is was the question.
exactly. So you apply growth factors,
Growth factors.
peptides,
Okay.
and you can apply different. There's different herbal molecules you can use.
Yeah.
So the combination of those things can help to address more of those 18 hair loss mechanisms and help the hair reawaken.
Do you believe in tropical solutions or do you believe in non-tropical solutions?
Do you mean topical?
Yes.
Yes. So some topical solutions definitely work, and some are just marketing. But the bigger thing is consistency. So what I say to people is don't do something unless you know you're going to be consistent with
Yeah.
it. Because every time you start something new and make the hair start to grow, you're going to lose hair. You have to lose hair to grow hair.
Yeah.
So if you're just starting things and stopping things, it's so only start something you can start and never stop.
So what is like one peptide that you're using for hair growth? Just one peptide.
So GHK,
GHKCU is used for hair health?
Yes,
Amazing.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
There's other
and,
ones.
and is that something that you're adding into this microneedling process?
Yes, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the combination.
So it takes about 2 to 3 months before you start to see any results?
2 to 3 months to start seeing any baby hairs.
Yeah.
And then 6 to 9 months to actually start to significantly see results.
And how long did it take you to grow your hair?
It took me about 2 years, but I took longer because I made a lot of mistakes,
Yes.
which you hopefully won't make because I'll tell you my mistakes. So yeah, because sometimes some mistakes can cost you 6 to 9 months of going backwards.
Yeah.
So, but it should take 1 to 2 years depending on where your hair loss is currently, and it's like I like to use the analogy of someone who's not fit and wants to become fit. It's the same with hair. So if you're not fit, you want to become fit, you have to do a lot of exercise to get there. Once you're there, you can then reduce the frequency and maintain it. So that's the same with natural hair restoration.
Now my favorite topic, supplements.
Okay.
So I take a lot of supplements. I own a supplement brand and I take a lot of supplements myself. And I take it because, you know, like nutrition is important, supplementing is also important. And I think they definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because even though you say to someone that you can have like 7 to 10, you know, servings of fruits and vegetables a day, realistically, you cannot have 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So even though I want to eat a lot of fiber, my body just can't handle so much food. Do you know what I mean? So I then take supplements instead. So I like to take a bunch of different things. NMN is a big supplement that I take. But I don't take NMN without taking TMG because TMG is a precursor and it helps it absorb better in the body. For example, I take a collagen supplement via a bone broth, but I also take it in a powder form with vitamin C. You know, I am taking so many varieties of things, but also I developed, I discovered this incredible supplement brand that I was telling you about that basically the components of everything in that supplement has completely changed my hair health. It grows super fast, number one. Okay. Number two, it keeps it like very full and thick and very, very shiny. So please tell me the 3 best supplements that you will recommend to somebody today who wants to have amazing hair?
So the most evidence-based supplements are there's a herb called saw palmetto, which is a small shrub pine, and it produces a little fruit, and that's been shown to help. But side note on that is pregnant women can't have it, or women trying, because it can change a baby, like a male baby, to female. So it has it works on the same thing that finasteride and dutasteride medication work on.
What are those medications?
Those are the traditional hair loss. Well, finasteride is a traditional hair loss medication that's used to reduce the amount of dihydrotestosterone in the blood.
Yeah, the DHTs.
Which is one of the
Is that prescription based, or you can get it off the counter?
prescription.
Okay.
So altering the levels of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone in the body, so lowering a bit of DHT and increase a little bit of testosterone, which is a good thing. That's a whole podcast in and of itself. But yeah, pregnant women can have it, and also if a man is putting on his scalp, it's been shown that skin to skin contact on the pregnant women can actually be harmful. So you've got to be careful with those
saw palmetto,
with those topicals. Yeah, pumpkin seed oil also is helpful. But with orals, you need to stick to them. Like I said, if you stop or change the dose, you're going backwards. So you start and stay on it. So the other...
So pumpkin seed oil, is it similar to how I take olive oil with lemon in the morning? Or how do you consume the pumpkin oil? Is like 1 tablespoon?
Oh, I just have it in capsules. I don't like
capsule
to
version.
drink oil.
Yeah, so I do the oil version.
Yeah, so you can do it either way. I would just have a teaspoon
a
day. Yeah, so the other supplements, there's ergothioneine. That's a really interesting one. That one doesn't have direct hair evidence, but it has the mechanistic evidence that it will help hair. So I recommend that. And NAC. So
I know NAC,
yeah, NAC is good, and it also may help with reducing graying. Not guaranteed, but that's also helpful for hair. Microneedling, I mentioned earlier, that's sort of an intervention you can do, which has the strongest... it's one of the most potent things you can do. Like you said, I think we're often told that supplementing with multivitamins aren't helpful, but anecdotally I've noticed, like you, that when I take a hair, skin, and nails multivitamin, my hair grows faster and thicker,
and it's shiny.
And shiny.
I care about the shine.
Yeah, and I think it's because we're missing certain minerals. Like, for example, zinc. You probably aren't eating enough zinc in your day-to-day diet. So having a
zinc supplement,
hair, skin, and nails multivitamin will cover you for that. So I think it's helpful. Yeah.
So you have a clinic coming up.
Yep.
And it's exciting because I think, like, I've never seen a natural hair clinic in Dubai. They all focus on transplants. And I think that's going to be amazing, because we need some natural ways to not just like have better hair, but also educate and create that awareness that it's possible. You know, because just like the weight loss industry is massive with the GLP-1s, and the hair transplant industry is massive and the cancer industry is massive, you know? Like, all of these industries that are making billions and billions are massive for a reason.
Yeah.
But also, it's taking away from the fact that we can go natural.
Yeah.
Right? So when is your clinic coming out?
In the next couple of months.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's not really... we don't have an exact launch date.
Yeah, so very excited for when that comes up. And we're going to do another podcast session definitely when that's in place. Thank you so much, Dr. Manny, for being on the Be That Life experience, and to really create that awareness and educate our audience today on better hair health. And I think a lot of us, if not all of us, can leave today with this confidence of knowing that you don't need to get a hair transplant.
Yeah.
to have perfect hair.
Yeah, that's right. So what we've been told that we can't grow hair, that's not true. The textbooks are wrong. You can regrow your hair with patience and consistency. Yeah.
Dr. Manny says it first here live at AWA. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you.